Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Jay's Latest. I am your host, Craig Borden, and let's just dive into some Blue Jays news and updates and all the other fun we're going to have today. So, first things first, please hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons if you're enjoying the fun that we're doing here every day. And let's just talk some Blue Jays baseball. So, recently, obviously, the Blue Jays don't have terribly amount of injuries and everything like that, but there are just enough that obviously there's some key reinforcements for this ball club. The updates on Max Scherzer a day after throwing off the mound sound encouraging. I'm looking very forward to seeing how his next bullpen session is going to look because it will obviously be the bigger telling part to the point if he can return and join this team. Having another big starter like Max Scherzer is definitely never in a million years going to hurt this ball club, and we are looking greatly forward to seeing what he can do. In the next pieces to this whole thing, we also could be getting Dalton Varsho back in the very near future. He's got a couple of hits so far in Buffalo, playing the outfield and whatnot, but he's got a couple RBIs as well. So hopefully we can get his glove back in the very near future. Then playing against the Rochester Red Wings in Buffalo this past couple of days. It's been very encouraging. I do want to see what he can do as far as how he's recovering each one of those days because it is very critical to the Blue Jays offense and defense going forward if he can be that igniter that he was starting to show this spring and see what he could be doing. Eric Swanson also is beginning his rehab assignment, so that's another bullpen arm we could get back to in the very near future. I want to make sure I also give a few shout outs to some minor league top performers because they are doing incredible work, and it is very cool to see. Um, First things first, Trey Savage and Dunedin. We haven't seen what this kid's doing in the highlights from Dunedin. You really need to check it out. He had 10 strikeouts in his outing the other day. He's looking incredible. Last year's high-end draft pick, first-round draft pick, I believe. Trey Savage, who also had a great spring for a couple outings too. Next, I want to make sure we talk about Arjun Namala because this Blue Jays top prospect is looking incredible so far this season for the Vancouver Canadians. He is currently 17 for 21 in those games, and it's insane. It's been really, really good. Uh, and oh, sorry, he has 17 hits in 21 games. So there's more probably even to that point. That's just awesome. He's been on base to a .845 to start his season. Had a back-to-back games with home runs in the last, and there's some highlights on our Jaybird Watching podcast clip right there. So make sure you check those out from the Nat Bailey all the way in Vancouver and check out the cool stuff that Arjun Amal and his teammates have been doing. Let's go back up to Buffalo where we were talking about Dalton Varsho for a moment there because Dalton Varsho's current teammate, Jonathan Clase, is off to a wonderful start with the Buffalo Bisons. He has currently batting .343 in 70 at bats. That's 24 hits, 13 stolen bases. That's very, very, very cool. And I do think that's a really great piece for the Blue Jays to be able to develop here because the 22-year-old is starting to look like he could be an igniter for the top of the lineup. And it will be really, really nice to see somebody like that come from Buffalo and just move us up a notch here and talk all things and get some good hitting along with some good defense. So let's talk to the main topic today, other than the fact that the Blue Jays have a doubleheader this afternoon. Yes, we didn't have a game yesterday. It got postponed. Get to do a double dip, play two for about Ernie Banks. Um, so I have a friend named at Not Gaetti because he's a persona online. Make sure you check him out. It's on X and all that kind of good stuff. He is a wonderful statistician, does these great deep dives on all these wonderful things, but his main moniker in his trademarked piece is NEPTA. Not enough people talk about pick a name. And he's got a wonderful database of things that you can click on through his Twitter account that have all these wonderful players, all these different teams that point you back to the Twitter's messages and everything that he actually followed for those pieces to make his argument on why this person should be talked about more often. Today, I want to make sure that we get a chance to talk about none other than the MLB and Blue Jay great, John Olerud. So if you have not heard about John Olerud, I want to make sure you get a chance to dive in on this man because he was an amazing hitter and a great first baseman for a long time in Major League Baseball. And to that point, not enough people do talk about him. Not Gaetti is 100% correct in this one because he has a near Hall of Fame resume. And the fact that he only got 0.7% of the vote in 2011, I think, is an injustice because first things first, just to talk this one out as far as comparing him to a Hall of Famer right off the bat, he has a great point here that he has more doubles than 3 current first basemen that play in the Hall of Fame. So that is Mel Ott, Al Kaline, and none other than the big hurt Frank Thomas. John Olerud has more doubles than those 3 gentlemen that are in the Hall of Fame. The 3-time Gold Glover and all an AL batting champ from 1993, which might have been one of the greatest hitting lineups in Major League Baseball history. When you look at that category, especially, the Blue Jays had three hitters in the Major League Baseball batting average race that year. The top 3 of them. It was John Olerud won. Paul Molitor was trailing him by not terribly a lot, and then Roberto Alomar. That was I don't think that was done ever again in Major League Baseball, unless you're talking Murderers Row Yankees or something like that. So, and that was the key reason that John Olerud was a big contributor to the fact that the Blue Jays won back-to-back World Series in 1992 and 1993. He had a career 295 batting average. Yeah, is famous for jumping from right from the MLB draft in college and jumping right to the major leagues. Nobody does that. It is very, very, very rare. It's just like diamond in the rough like level. This is like needle in a haystack how many times that happens in Major League Baseball. John Olerud was a major league hitter. It was known right there all that to begin with. So it was incredible. And to that point of him being one of the better hitters in Major League Baseball, he holds the single batting average or the single season batting average record for 2 Major League Baseball teams. And that is just wild. Playing his whole career with the Blue Jays, Mets, Mariners, and a few throw ins at the end. But those are the 3 that really stood out. He was also a member of the 2001 Seattle Mariners team, which is the most winning single season team in Major League Baseball history. John Olerud should be on a pedestal here with all the things he's gotten and done in Major League Baseball. And him only getting 0.7% of the Hall of Fame ballot vote in the 1 year he was on the ballot is a shame and an injustice that needs to be corrected. So thank you, Not Gaetti, for the wonderful information. I got one last story about John Olerud because of his season in 1993 where he was flirting with 400. A 400 batting average. It's only done so many times, and Ted Williams is still the last player to bat 400 in a Major League Baseball season. Back in the early 90s, Ted Williams was asked if somebody could actually do that again. And he actually called and said, or not called out, but stated that John Olerud is one of the ones that could do it. He just wishes he was a little faster and then he would shoe into it. John Olerud was not known for his speed, but he was known for his prowess as a sweet swinging lefty, awesome, great defending first baseman. And he deserves that chance to be remembered in all that kind of good stuff amongst Blue Jays fans and MLB fans alike. So, tip of the hat. Thank you, Not Guy Eddie, for the wonderful stats. Appreciate it. And let's talk today. What's going on in Blue Jays baseball? Because we get the double dip. Let's play 2 today. So, first games first. The Blue Jays are going to have the matchup that they didn't get to have yesterday with Max Fried versus Kevin Gausman. This is going to be a pitcher's duel, everybody. So make sure you tune in because this is going to be one of those ones where it's going to be very interesting to see the spin on the space-ball today because the 2 of these guys are at the top of their game. Max Fried actually just missed a no-hitter in his last outing because of a scoring change, really. So it is what it is. Kevin Gausman has been on fire this season. Last outing, he had literally 1 bad inning. Otherwise, was cruising. Took down the Houston Astros. Always somehow find that 1 bad inning against Kevin Gausman. In the second game, though, whenever the heck that time is going to start, Chris Bassitt versus Clarke Schmidt. And Bass has been on a roll, having the best beginning of his Major League Baseball season career. And Clarke Schmidt is coming back from an injury and got beat up in his 1 start. So I'm hoping the Blue Jays bats can find a way to do something really well against them this afternoon. Bo Bichette has a home run against him, against Clarke Schmidt. So does Vladdy, and so does Anthony Santander. There might be something going on there. So hopefully there is some piece to that the Blue Jays can actually squeak out a win and get some of that going because taking that first game actually felt like momentum, and then the rain delay yesterday didn't help that much. Hopefully that means the Yankees are sitting in this locker room and stewing on it. So We'll have to see what happens. So, anyways, once again, Blue Jays fans, thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you check out my friend at Not Gaietti, along with the Jaybird Watching podcast, where I said I have posted some of these clips that we were chit chatting about with the young minor leaguers. Check those out. Hit those like, share, and subscribes for all three of them. We hope you have a great day and go Blue Jays. Cheers.